Hey, my name is Randall, and I'm going to show you our new open source agent harness. It's called Gambit. You can get it from a couple different places. You can either go to GitHub and check out like the instructions down here, or you can go to our site, bullfoundry.com, and we have all the instructions as well. So I'm going to use these instructions from bullfoundry.com. I'm going to start with doing Gambit init. So I'm going to hit enter. It'll ask me if I want to install. I do. And I already have OpenRouter set up, so it's not going to ask me for an OpenRouter key, but if you don't, it'll save it in the env file. All right, we copied all these files over. Now we're going to run the hello world example. So I'm going to start with this, hit paste, and we're going to get a REPL that looks a lot like Cloud Code or Codex or something used before. It just asks, what's your name? I'm going to say Randall. And then it says, hello, Randall. And we know that the time to first token was 900 milliseconds about. Okay, so that's cool, but let's go look at the version that is hosted. It's a website version, rather. So I'm going to paste here, hit enter. This is going to open a simulator, so I have it open here. Oh, I have cheated. We'll hit refresh. There we go, it's real. Okay, so there's a bunch of docs that explain kind of what's going on here, but we're going to go to the test bot. This is where the fun happens. Over here on the left, we have a test bot set up, and this is our main deck. We'll talk about what decks are in a second on the right. We're going to hit run test bot. This just runs the same agent or assistant. It says, what's your name? Our test bot says Gambit. It says, hello, Gambit. At this point, we can actually run a grader. Now, graders make it so that they're like an eval, basically, but they will make it so that you can grade your responses based on criteria that you set. In this case, we ran a conversation echo guard, and we hit run grader. We got back a +3. That means it works properly. All right, let's do a more advanced example. We're going to look through this FAQ bot. This has some tool calls, it has a test deck, it has a bunch of other things that we'll show you. All right, so I'm going to start up our server again. And then on the left side, I'm going to refresh and make sure that we got our test bot up. Great. So this is an FAQ bot that's designed to ask about Gambit. So there's a few FAQ things. It's not super comprehensive. We're going to build it out as we go. But right now, I'm just going to show you briefly how it works. So the first thing it did was make 4 tool calls, which we don't like. The next thing it did was it said hi. And then our test bot said, I'm exploring Gambit, what module shipping Gambit. And you'll see that it returned this list. Now, that's fine. And like we can look at which tool calls it made. It made this one called FAQ service, whatever. That's fine, but we don't really like that because we want it to be a voice assistant. So we have a grader over here that actually grades the quality of the responses as a voice assistant. So I'm going to hit run grader. For the whole conversation, it's going to go look, and it says, uh-oh, this conversation has some issues. So then I can look turn by turn. I'm going to look at this turn by turn, and it's going to say, first one, actually really concise and good. Second one, doesn't really work for a voice assistant. And neither does the third one. Fourth one's fine. Now I want to show one specific feature. You'll see this big copy state pass button, and then down here you'll see this flag button. Since I don't like turn 3 and it's especially bad, I can flag, and then I can explain why I flagged it. I didn't like how it used a list. Now I can click copy state pass, and I can use this with Codex. Okay, so in Codex, we're just going to say, hey, can you help me figure out why this had poor grading? And then I'm going to paste the link to the state file. This is going to go look up stuff, and while it does that, you as the developer can actually see all the same information that the assistant sees. Right, so we have all this information over here that's like the system prompt and how it works. And then this is like the actual traces that get sent to like the OpenAI in this case. Like this is all the information that actually gets sent. Over here, it looks like our thing finished. The poor grade comes from a deck editor to compare. It says -1 because it's stiff and formal. Okay, I'm more concerned with the -3. Can you help me update it so it works better for a voice assistant? Focus on the deck. Okay, so this is going to go through, and it's going to try to find the deck and any references to it. For us, decks are the core unit of execution in Gambit. So I'm going to go, let me just show you this while it's coming up. We're going to do cat. All right, so you can see here, it's a lot like a regular assistant. Down here, you'll see it just says you're a conversational assistant, blah, 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 blah. At the top, you'll see that we have a little bit of front matter. This is tonal front matter on purpose, so it's easier to stream and read. We have a thing called an action deck, which we'll talk about. We have the test decks that we already talked about. And then we have 4 or 5 grader decks that do different things. So the test deck is how you set up your test bot, and it works just the same way that a regular deck does, like we're looking at now. An action deck is cool. So this is actually a separate tool call. You can define action decks as either markdown, which means it's going to be another agent that runs, or you can define them as typescript, which means you can do things like database calls or whatever. This means that the whole thing kind of orchestrates itself, and they're all locally reasoning. You have your main assistant that's talking to the user. Then you have the sub deck that's doing specific tasks. And they're sharing information using a protocol that's strongly typed. Okay, over here, it figured out some things to do. It created some changes. Let's go run our test deck again. So we're going to go over here, back to testbot. I'm going to make a new chat, and I'm going to push run. And we'll see how it goes. So it looks like it's going to run. It's still running those tool calls off the top, which isn't great, but we'll deal with that later. And so now it runs this thing, makes the tool call, and now instead of having a list of items, it actually returns a plain text thing. This is pretty good. Now, say I like this, but it's a little bit too wordy. As a subject matter expert that I'm calling myself, I'm actually going to rate this, and I'm going to say, actually, I like this. It's good enough for shipping to users, but it seems a bit verbose. Maybe there's a way we could make it more concise. All right, and let's go check out the grades that this conversation gets. So the whole conversation gets a 2, which is better than last time. And then the turn by turns, hopefully we'll see some dramatic differences here. The second turn, which was the bad one last time, actually got a 3 because it's totally readable now. And the third one gets a 3 as well. Well, that shows you the basics. Hopefully you can understand how it works. There's more information at boltfoundry.com, and we'll be around the Hacker News and YouTube comments if there's things you want to talk about. Thanks.